Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you how to make the 3 cards from my Taco Fiesta Class to go. I love the stamp set. It was created by a fellow Texan demonstrator whenever she reached her $1 million in sales. So that's a fun perk of Stampin' Up! Whenever you've been in it for a while and doing well. So I just love the fun feel of this stamp set, and there's so much you can do with all of these fun little images and spicy little sayings. But before I start showing you how to make these cards, I wanted to tell you first about the class. So whenever you place a $35 order from me, and you use this host code, I will send you in the mail the pieces to make these cards. And they all come in their own envelopes, so you can just open up the envelope, pull out your pieces, and you're ready to go. Whenever your order reaches $50, and this is, pre-tax, pre-shipping, you will also get a full set of basic rhinestones this time. I love these. This is one of my most used embellishments on cards and scrapbook pages and things. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to tell you really quick before we get started stamping is that there are still 2 promotions happening through June. One of them is this great, that way? No, that way. Nope. That way. It's really, everything's backwards. Okay, so this designer series paper sale is going on through June. It's not all of our DSP, but it's most of it. And you'll get 15% off, which I think our designer series paper is already a great deal. And with that extra little bit off, it's even better. If nothing else, it covers your shipping. At least for the DSP. Let's see, I did make an order last week when the sale started. That was almost all designer series paper. So worth it. Okay, and the other fantastic special that's happening this week, there it is, I couldn't get it to pop up, is the starter kit. So our starter kit is always spectacular. I think this is the best deal ever because you get to pick your own products that you get in the starter kit. You always get the business type stuff, but the crafty stuff, you get to pick your own. It's not pre-selected for you, and you can get anything that you want. And during this special in June, you can get up to $155 worth of product for only $99, and shipping is included in that. So it's a fabulous deal. You don't have to sell Stampin' Up! Ever. And I would love to have you on my team. So if you have any questions, then you can contact me, and I'll leave that contact information in the description below. Or you can link straight over to my website and join today. All right, let's make some cards. So as I said a minute ago, Taco Fiesta is the stamp set that I'm going to be using today. And these cards, unless you want to add some happy birthday or thank you, congratulations, something like that, you can just use this stamp set for these cards, unless you want to add some more sentiments or something. I'm also using the Zoo Crew Designer Series paper, which is part of that 15% off this month. And this time I'm going to be using the back sides of these papers that are just black and white. So they're perfect for any stamp set. And then I am using the dies. Now whenever I send you your pieces, you'll see in just a second, I've already pre-cut them. So you don't have to have these dies if you get this class to go, because you'll get the pieces already cut out. And if it's a piece that you have to stamp on, I always send an extra, just in case something happens. But I love those stylish shaped dies. They are very handy. Alright, so let's start. I'm peeking in my envelopes, making sure I'm pulling out the right one first. Whenever I send these in the mail to you, they'll be labeled with which card you're going to be making. But I didn't do that for myself. I should have, huh? Okay. So see, that's not the side we're using. this is the side we're using. So you always get an inside layer unless the card base is either very vanilla or basic white. I like to include a layer for inside the card. So the ink that you'll need for these cards, it's the same ink for all 3 cards. You'll want a Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. You don't really need, this is a color lifter. It's for boo-boos. We're not going to use that today, hopefully. Both the Real Reds, both the Granny Apple Greens, and the new Lemon Lolly. Stampin' blends are what we're going to be using. So first off, I'm going to stamp this little bowl of guacamole, because who doesn't love guacamole? I have been on a super guacamole kick lately, and I eat just a little bit, probably more than I should, but it's really yummy. Especially fresh guacamole is so good. Okay, so I'm going to stamp a couple of those chips. Then I have a little post-it note, so it's always handy to have sticky notes and not the super sticky kind. I'm just going to stamp those chips right there. So now I'm going to take my paper snips. I love these scissors. And I'm just going to trim around these chips real quick. Whenever I'm trimming chips like this, or a mask like this, I always like to go just barely inside that outside line. Does that make sense? So that my mask is just a teeny bit smaller than the image that I've stamped. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but there we go. Okay, so I'm going to put those right here. And that one can go right there. Now see, this one I don't have perfectly on there, so I'm going to try to straighten that up a little bit. Oh, much better. Much, much better. Okay, so I'm going to take my chips again. This one I'm going to stamp them the other direction. I don't want to stamp off my page, so I'm going to stamp them right there. And then I'll pull this off, and I'll pull this off. And then over here, I want a mask for my guacamole. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my guac right here on this edge of my post-it note. Okay, and how's that for a little movie magic? It's already cut out. Alright, so I'm just going to put that right up here. I want it towards the top. And then, see, I'm going to make sure that my nachos are clean. I don't want any ink on those. And now I want to make sure they're dry. Okay, so I'm going to take another Post-it, and this time I'm going to mask the chips before I stamp. So these 2 chips that are touching each other, I'm going to mask those. And I'm going to ink up that lonely chip that's by itself. And then I'm going to put it right here like it's being dipped into the guacamole. There we go. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, which says, "Your nacho average friend." Isn't that a cute friendship card? Or sentiment, I guess. The card's not finished, so you don't know if it's a cute card or not. I hope you think it's a cute card when it's all done. All right, so let's use that light lemon lolly to color the chips real quick. All right, and then I'm going to use I think I'm going to use the light. Nope, that's the dark. I'm going to use the light Granny Apple Green to color the guac. Then I'm going to use the dark Real Red to color the bowl. There we go. Okay. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on the inside layer. I'm going to stamp my guacamole again. Just going to stamp it on this lower left corner. And then, because I really like to have chips in my guac, I ought to do something healthier, like maybe a carrot. But no, it's chips for me. Not all the time. What do you like to dip in your guacamole? Do you eat guacamole? I know not everyone does. Okay. And then I'm going to color this just to match the front. Okay. So now let's layer this. Okay, so I'm going to start with this Designer Series paper. All of the measurements are included in the PDF tutorial that you'll get whenever you purchase with this host code that I'll be posting again in a little bit, or you can find it down in the description. Oh my goodness. You see, that's why I like liquid glues, because whenever I put things down crooked or wonky or just not quite in the right space, I have a few seconds to fix it. There we go. Okay, and then I have some layers here. So I'm going to first take this square of Granny Apple Green. I'm going to put it in the center of this black square. Looks pretty straight. And then I'm going to take the stamped square and put it on the Granny Apple Green square. Man, I am not getting it straight today, am I? Okay, let's try it this way. That's good, I think. And then I'm going to take this whole piece and attach it to the card front. And you can place it wherever you want. I'm going to put it right about there. And so then our front's done. Then I'm going to put my liquid glue on the back of this piece, and I'll put it inside of my card here. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that guacamole again, and I'm going to stamp it right here on my flap. Oh, whoa. Don't know what that was all about, but I'm going to stamp it right here on the flap of my envelope. I'm not going to put the chip on this one. I do still have my mask, so I could if I wanted to. But I think I'm just going to leave it as a bowl of guacamole. Just kidding. I want it to have the chip in it. We're pretending like these are not normal chips. We're pretending like these are nachos full of yummy goodness. Okay, so let's put this right here. Mask the double chip again. There we go. Ink it. Remove that mask. And I'm just putting the tip in this time. There you go. There's our first card. Super cute. Okay, so the second card has a real red card base. So that one's easier to find. There we go. Let's open it up. And you have 3 circles and a banner to stamp on. And then, of course, the inside of your card. So for the inside, I'm going to go ahead and do it first since I have it out. This isn't the normal way I do things, but it's here, so why not? So I'm stamping just a tiny little pepper inside the card. Then I'm going to stamp the larger pepper 3 times, once on each circle. Then, this time, my sentiment is, you spice up my life. Isn't this a great sentiment for an anniversary card? I love it. There we go. That looks better that way. Okay, so I did that a little funky. I'm going to use my extra piece here to go ahead and restamp that. It's still a little high, but it's not so messed up this time. And that's all the stamping done except for the envelope. Let's just go ahead and color these. I'm going to start with my light Granny Apple Green. I always say I'm starting with my light one, and then I pick up my dark one. So this is the light one. And I'm using my brush tip, but you can use whichever side you want. I'm probably going to use the bullet tip whenever I do the stem, and that one I will do the dark color on. Okay. So then my next one, I'm using the dark Lemon Lolly. You know, I eat a lot of bell peppers, so that's what I was thinking of whenever I did this. But these are jalapenos. These are not bell peppers. But that's okay. It's just not a very ripe jalapeno. Alright, so let's do dark real red again for this last pepper, because it's super spicy. Actually, I think green ones sometimes are spicier. I'm not sure. I don't eat a lot of jalapenos. My dad and my husband, they eat lots of jalapenos. And my father-in-law, he eats a lot of them too. I used to eat them, but not so much anymore. Okay. Now, this is that dark Granny Apple Green. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and just barely do the tip of that one. And then let's make that one red as well. Okay, and this one, this is the one I should have done this on earlier. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Blend to color some of these rhinestones. This is one reason why I love these so much, is because you can do this. So I recommend going very, very lightly as you color. And I like to brush up from the bottom. And I am using my brush tip. And I'm just going very lightly, because the harder you color on these, the more it's going to mess up your tip. So you want to be really careful that you don't catch it, or do anything too rough while coloring these. Okay, so I'm going to let those dry for just a minute while I finish this card. So let's start putting it together. First I'm going to take this strip. I turned that upside down, but I'm not ready for that. I'm going to take this strip and I'm going to place it right about here. So that is about, it's around 1/2 inch from the edge. Okay, I'm going to take my liquid glue again. I'll put that right here on the center of the front of my card base. Okay. I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals for my peppers. So you can, if you want to get an idea of how they look before you glue them down, you can. There you go. Or you can get an idea of the spacing before you actually attach them to your card base. There we go. So this "You Spice Up My Life," I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm out of full pieces of dimensionals again, so I'm just using my snips. There's one. There's another one. Then I'm going to use that liquid glue right there. That can go there. Okay, so then I'm going to take those rhinestones that we colored and place those on my card. So you can put it wherever you want. I'm going to stick mine here, here, and one more right about there. Oh, sorry about that. Then the inside, I'm going to go ahead and add that. We could use the little pepper again on the flap of the card. I mean the envelope, but I'm going to use that larger pepper. I just like that one. Let's put this one over here. Of course, you can color whatever you want, but I'm going for that red again. There you go. So there is card number 2. I cannot remember if I mentioned or not, but you do get enough pieces to make 2 of each of these in your class packet whenever you order the class to go. So our last card, again, I'm using that Granny Apple Green card base. And let's start with these 4 pieces. So they're going to go on your card something like that. I'm going to put guacamole on this one. Let's put a sombrero on this one. And then these fun confetti and candy pieces on this one. I always say not to rock it, and I did just that. So let's restamp that one. There we go. And then this square piece, where are my handy Post-it notes? Okay, so I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to take my sentiment. Just kidding. I'm going to put that to the side for just right now. First, what I want to do is stamp my llama piñata. So it's going to go in the center right here. There we go. Now, Post-it. So I'm going to cover first the bottom part that says it's your birthday. And I'm going to stamp Holy Guacamole. I didn't ink that up very well on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to use a different Post-it note next time because that has a lot of ink on it. Alright, let's see. Gonna stamp that right there towards the top. That looks good. I'm gonna clean my stamp. Okay, it's good and clean. I'll use this piece I cut stuff out of earlier. So this time I'm covering up guacamole. And I'm only inking up it's your birthday. Okay, I think that's inked. I'm having a hard time seeing it. Then I'm going to stamp that right here under this little guy. I didn't have it cleaned off quite as well as I thought I did, but that's okay. Alright, so time to color. I'm going to use that light lemon lolly again. There we go. I'm going to use the dark real red. I'm going to use the dark real red here as well. And then let's use it on our guacamole bowl. And one more place, I'm going to use it on these candies here. So do that. Just color in every other space on this long candy. Then I'm going to use the light real red to color in the spaces that I left. Or you could just leave it striped like that. It's up to you. Or you can do it a different color. So many options. Okay, so I'm using the dark lemon lolly to color this round candy. In my mind, it's a butterscotch. But it could also be lemon. Okay, so this one right here. And then I'm going to use the dark green to color inside this piece and then right here as well. And I'm going to use the light granny apple green again to color my guacamole. Okay, so I'm going to start, before I start putting things together, so I always like to color my rhinestones a little bit before I need them, just to make sure they have plenty of time to dry. This is the light one. And I like to use my dark Stampin' blends to color with whenever I'm using the rhinestones. Okay, remember to go from the bottom to the top and as lightly as you possibly can. I'm going to do one of each size. So we've got small, medium, and large here in the reverse order I just said. There you go. Okay, so let's assemble now. So the square piece on the square red piece first. And then these pieces, I'm going to put them like so. Sorry, I keep hitting that camera. And again, I suggest kind of laying them on here and getting your spacing figured out before you start gluing them down. I think that looks good. And I'm still using pieces of Stampin' Dimensionals instead of whole Stampin' Dimensionals because I want to use all of this extra. Oh, I moved it. Oh, how did I do that? Okay, so somehow I wiggled that out of place, but I think it's okay now. Okay, so holy guacamole, it's your birthday. Alright, so now let's do those. Now, before we do that, here's my inside piece. Let's stamp some guacamole again. I'm very guacamole happy on this set of cards. Bottom right corner this time. And while I have it out, I'm going to go ahead and do the flap as well. Although you could, I'm going to do, let's not do the guacamole. Let's do the llama piñata. There we go. I like it. Okay, so the front of the envelope this time we stamped on. And I am using light real red to color this time, but that's okay. Let's put this inside of our card. Okay, I do recommend when you're coloring on the front of one of these to take a scrap paper and put it inside. And that will keep it from bleeding through just in case. Did that backwards. There we go. Okay, so let's add those rhinestones. Kind of fit this one right here. Put this one there. Then I'm going to put this one. Whoa. That works. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but I had a little blip of something there. I think I had some black ink on my hands and it just barely got on my card. So I wanted to cover that up. So that's how I determined where I was going to put my pieces, my little rhinestones this time, is I had one whoops that I wanted to not show. And so I think that's a great way to figure out where you're going to put those little special embellishments. So here's our cards again. There's the final card we did, the middle card, and here's the first card. I hope you enjoyed these and like this whole set as much as I do. This class is going to run through Friday, June 16th. And all of the details about when the PDF will be sent to you after purchasing or when your class packet will be mailed to you, those are going to be available. That information will be on my blog. So there's a link in the description. You can click right over to that informational page and find out more, and there will be a link there that you can click to place your order with the host code so you can get this class to go. If you have any Stampin' Up! Questions at all, then don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And again, my contact information is in the comments below. You can always reach me or find that information on my website as well. It's judithpatterson.net. Y'all have a great weekend. Happy stamping.